Hello everybody, welcome back. Do you like my vest? It's December now, which means that I almost exclusively dress in Christmas themed things. I just got this vest. It's some polar bears and they're skiing. Pretty cool. I feel like it's a appropriate vest to wear. For a while now, I have been looking for a really cool bag. I don't exactly know what I want, but I want like something very kitschy and I feel like I want an Ida bag, but then also I want something very kitschy and like vintagey but very fun, colorful, you know? I've been feeling this shift in my style change lately where I want to dress like an art teacher, you know, like a kindergarten art teacher, like Miss Frizzle, very out there, fun, weird, kooky, crazy, tacky, kitschy. You know what I mean? Like I love a good kitsch. And that's kind of what I've been searching for lately, is just like a good kitschy bag that could fit for both like when I'm kooky crazy, but also when I'm a little more toned down, but just like gives the vibes of things that I like. We all know I love pink and pastels and all these like cute things, but like with a little bit of a pinup flirty thing. I just like couldn't find the bag that I wanted. That's a lie. There are some bags that I want. First of all, I will say this. I think a lot of people are either bag girlies or shoe girlies, and I am very much a shoe girly. I usually use one bag until it falls apart, and then I go, okay, now time for a new bag, because I hate just like switching things in and out of bags. It's very annoying to me. But I've been feeling a little bored with the bag that I have recently. It's just like a leopard print bag that I got in an estate sale, and it's cute, it's fine, but like I need a little more. I think it's fine to have, especially if I have like a leopard print outfit on. I think it works, but I don't know. I need something a little more fun, I think. And I'm also not a designer bag girly either. It's not really like my shtick, but the Moschino bags from, I think it was like spring 2022. I'm gonna put them right here so you can see. They're so cute because they're all like kitschy and vintage, but I looked up if I could get one and they're like $400, and I'm not about to spend $400 on a bag. So I decided for this video, instead I would just make one. Not like make a whole bag from scratch. I was contemplating that for a little bit. There were these bags that I saw on Pinterest that I was like, I could whip out the needle point again that I remember saying so much like, this is not for me, but I could whip that out and needlepoint like a whole bag and do that. It is possible. And I could still do it in the future, but I was like, how about instead I just paint on a bag? So I think that's what we're gonna do for this video. We are going to paint on a bag. I am going to go to the store and hopefully find like a cute bag, and I don't know what I'm gonna paint on it, but I'm gonna paint something and it'll be cute. We're just winging it like I do with everything. I get like a vague idea and I'm like, cool, that's what we're doing. So we're doing that. So we're just gonna jump in. I'm going to go to the store. I'm gonna hit up a thrift store. There's a thrift store near me that usually has pretty good stuff, so I'm gonna check there. If I can't find anything, I'm going to check like Marshall's or TJ Maxx, because I have both of those really close to me. Hopefully we'll find something. I'll share like my Pinterest vibe that I've been looking at here. I think this is kind of what we're looking for, but instead of top-down mode, let's go to the store. This one's kind of cute. I can like paint on both sides, maybe. But we'll keep looking. I think I want white, but I'm not sure. This one's also cute. Like a blue, like a sky blue maybe. I'm gonna look around more. I do like this one a lot, but this is very thin. I'd be afraid of it snapping. Two good contenders. this pink one, which has a lot of space to do art on, which I think is pretty nice. This one's a little bigger than the other one. I think this opens. Yeah, it is big. It's a big bag. Well, big for me. I'm used to like these kind of smaller ones. And the other one is also the same Steve Madden. It's a little smaller. I just don't want like this on there. I don't know how to take this off. But this has more space to just like paint on. I think overall I like the shape of this one better. This one might be too clunky for me. So maybe I'll stick with this one. We're back home. This is the bag I ended up choosing. I think it has a lot of potential and it has a lot of area for me to paint. I don't like the Steve Madden metal piece, but it is what it is. It's also pretty full inside, which is great, but I'm gonna leave it stuffed so that I can work on it easier. It came with these charms. I'm gonna put them to the side because I don't really need them right now, and I don't know if I'll use them, but we'll see. But yeah, it's a pretty good sized bag. I'm gonna paint on both sides, and let's get to it. So I went to Blix and I got this Angelus brand. For my research, this is a really good leather paint. You want a leather paint because you need it to be flexible so that it can bend and it won't chip off or crack or anything. That's what I was worried about with just random acrylics that I have, especially because the acrylics that I have at home are really cheap. So I opted to get this brand. I got this leather prepper in deglazer, which was one of the first steps. The first step I did was just kind of clean it off with like soap and water, and then I put the deglazer on a cotton pad and rubbed in circles to get the finishing layer, the factory finishing layer, off of the bag. Now this isn't necessarily a tutorial because this is my first time ever doing this, so I might have some wrong information. I did do a quick search on how to do this, read some Reddit posts from the Angelus brand, and just jumped right in because that's how I work and that's how I do things. So I went in with my watercolor pencils. Most colors weren't really showing up. The black ended up being the best one that mostly showed what I was doing. I did sketch initially with a brown. It was so light that you could barely see it and the camera barely would pick it up. But then I went back over once I kind of plotted out the body with this black and finalized my lines a little bit more. Also, I don't know if any of you guys run into this issue if you're very used to working digitally and then switch to traditional, that when you feel like you mess up, I feel like you automatically go to like undo, but then you go, oh, I can't undo because it's traditional media. I can't just do like Control Z or like a double tap or whatever to undo. And it's such a weird feeling. And I kept running into that. Now, initially I tried to use an eraser and it like kind of worked, but what I did find worked the best was using that deglazer on a little like cotton swab and just using that to remove my lines if I felt like I really messed up on something. And that would remove them like completely. Sketch on this side and then I'm going to jump to the other side. Now, I did plan this on my iPad. I took a photo of this bag and sketched a bunch of different ideas, and then these were the two ideas that I ended up on. On the flip side, I wanted to kind of do like a zoomed in version of the little Pomeranian that's getting into some trouble behind this girl. So I decided to do like this cute, bigger version, the little Pom, and he's like, hee hee hee, I'm chewing on the cord. Once I was happy with the sketch, I pulled out my paints. The first one I opened had this little brush attached to it, which I thought was so convenient, but then the other ones didn't have that, which was weird. I don't know why that first one had it and all of the rest of them didn't, but I plotted out all my colors, mixed colors that I needed, and then just kind of started painting.
Now, the one thing I did read about these is that you have to work in very thin layers. Because you're working in very thin layers, you have to keep layering over and over again, especially the lighter colors like the white. You'll see I kind of had a harder time getting an even coat, so I had to layer it many, many times. And this was like the most time-consuming part because it was a lot of just putting down a thin layer, waiting for it to dry, putting down a thin layer, waiting for it to dry. As you can see here, they kind of look like little ghosts because the middle part, I guess, just wasn't adhering. I don't know if maybe I wasn't letting it dry enough between each layer, but I decided to let the little Pomeranians dry more while I worked on the girl. I was also trying to figure out like how I wanted to shade this, if I wanted shading at all. I kind of wanted some soft shading, but the leather paints work a little bit more like acrylic, so they don't blend as great as I wanted them to, I guess. And they work better with like more cell shaded stuff, so I decided I would do very, very minimal shading initially, but then I was like, I do have my handy dandy trusty beautiful pan pastels, and maybe they can work with this as well, because I just keep finding ways to use them. So I did put down some very minimal shading on the girl, and then added another layer of white paint on the Pomeranians. As you can see, it's still not really adhering in the middle. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I was having a really hard time with the white specifically. Not any other color, it was really just the white that I was struggling with. Most of the other paints were really smooth and went on pretty well. I was trying to find that balance on how thin I should make them. It was kind of tricky, but then once you started getting the hang of it, I felt like I was picking up exactly how much water I needed. I also, when I went to Blix, because it's the only place I can get them, got some new colors of pan pastels. So while everything was kind of drying, I knew that the skin was mostly dry on the girl, and I thought while it wasn't completely dry, it would probably be perfect for picking up pastels. So I went in with my pan pastels and added some softer shading with that. I did way too much blush on the face, so I painted over it and then decided I would just kind of keep the shading simple. Just minimal shading around the edges and everything. That kind of soft pillow shading, which people tell you not to do normally, but a lot of vintage art did do it, so I like to do it. So the leather paints do dry pretty quickly, so a lot of my painting was just me bouncing around while I waited for other sections to dry. For example, I knew that this phone was dry, so I went in and decided to line it. And then while that dried, I added a little bit more blush. I was trying to be so careful and delicate because that pigment goes a long way, and I just wanted a little bit of blush. Then once the blush was on, I went in with the eyes and face because I was waiting for all of the highlights to dry. So it's just like a lot of bouncing around and hitting points that were done and then letting that dry and hit other points, and yeah. So once I was happy with that, I used the satin clear coat that's supposed to seal everything in. I used this big brush, and then I also used like a giant brush initially, but like, I don't know if it's the clear coat or if it was my brush or what, but I felt like when the clear coat went on, it was like a little yellow, like it came out a little yellower. And I also don't know if it was because the art I did wasn't fully dry. I thought it was dry, but when I brushed over it, I was getting streaking. And then also you could see the brush strokes, so I had to go back over and fix my lines and then reapply the satin coat. I don't know if I was just doing it wrong. They say you can apply it with an airbrush, and I technically have an airbrush, but I haven't used it in like a year, and I think it's just clogged, and I hate it actually because it always clogs regardless of like the airbrush paints that I get and how much I like thin it and use all of this stuff. I don't know if I'm just doing it wrong, but it drives me nuts. So I didn't want to use that, so I used a brush, and I don't know if that was my mistake. But anyway, on the flip side, while that was drying, I started painting the Pomeranian. Like the other side, it's really just a lot of layers. Just layering, layering, layering. And because we're doing so much white, it just took a long time to just do a thin layer, wait, do a thin layer, wait. And then tragedy struck, and I dumped black leather paint everywhere. Luckily for me, it only got on the handle, so it didn't get all over my art, which is good, but it got on my pajama pants, which is, I mean, I'm bummed because I do like these Pikachu pajama pants, and it got on the floor, and it just got everywhere, so I had to like clean it, and it was all over me. It was all over everything. It was over the handles. Oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. Luckily, it was only on the handles, but yeah, it leaked through my pants too and stained my leg. But it's okay, we got it clean. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out all of the black out from like the seams of the handles, so you might see it later that there's like some staining. I just couldn't get it out. I don't know if it ended up drying and just like wasn't coming out, but I was using the deglazer and I don't know, it was just like in there. I did the liner on the dog and then added highlights on the phone cord, added some other highlights on the ribbon. The last step was to add the phone cord in the mouth. I had to get the dog completely done before I added in the phone cord. I don't know if this is satisfying for you guys, but putting my paints on the silicone mat is so satisfying once you're done. You can peel all the paint off. Then obviously the last step is to add the clear gloss, which again, I don't know if I like the clear gloss on it, but I don't think there's anything else I can do. So let's just move on to the final results and see how they look. What do you think of this bag? Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I give it like an 8 out of 10. I wanted a bag that would look cute with my, what I call bag children, like the little baby threes and little other guys that I have hanging off the bags, and I definitely think they do. I think that they look cute with this bag, so that worked. I think the problem with this bag is once it got to the clear coat, I don't know what happened. It kind of smudged stuff and it picked up some fibers from my brush, so now there's like permanent little like fiber marks and stuff. I don't know. It kind of drives me nuts, but it's really only if you're looking super close. I think from far away you can't really tell at all, which is fine, and it's a bag, so I feel like it'll slowly get dirty anyway. Also, the yellowing like only kind of looks like yellowy when you're really close, but I also think from far away you can't really tell. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you want me to do more of these like bag customizations. They were pretty fun actually, and now I have a ton of leather paint that I have to use, so maybe I should make more. I feel like it would be really cool to make a Puppets bag. I don't know. Alright, well, that's about it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and go eat some pie or something. I'm only saying that because my husband made apple pie and I can smell it in the kitchen and it's making me really hungry. Okay, I'm gonna go make dinner. Bye!